I'm ready to get a lot of hate on this video, so let's jump right into it. Hey guys, my name is Ryan Thompson with Failtech, and this is why I personally actually hate the iPhone XR, even though we haven't got it yet. Now, I've got to preface the video by saying that even though I hate a phone doesn't mean that I don't think it's a good phone. So I still think the XR is a good phone to a lot of people, and it can match a lot of people's standards. It might not match mine, but that's not the point. The point is that I don't like it, and I don't like the idea of it. With that said, I could complain about the budget-friendly price tag, the terrible display relative to its price, the thick bezels, the notch, the single camera, the IP67 versus IP68. There are loads of things I could talk about here. But what's important to me is that the iPhone XR is meant to replace the iPhone SE. And for those of you who don't know who it is, brief rundown, it's a 5S with 6S internals mostly, apart from a few minor things. And this is a very small smartphone. I'm talking 4 inches. This is generations old at this stage. And it's a real problem for me because the smallest iPhone we have these days is 5.8 inches. That's the iPhone XS, and I suppose the X if you still go for that. And I'm going to call it X instead of XS because it's just confusing. Apple, sort out your naming scheme, seriously. I've made a couple of videos on this channel in the past about compact and budget smartphones. They might not have to be budget, but definitely compact on the screen variant. And there isn't a 4.7-inch iPhone anymore, and there isn't a 4-inch iPhone anymore because both of those are getting replaced here. But a lot of people have told me and have come to me and said, right, seriously, when you've got such small bezels, it can really lead to a better experience because you can put a bigger screen in a smaller chassis. So the iPhone 10 isn't far off what the iPhone 7 is in terms of shape and size. And whilst I agree with this, and I definitely get where you're coming from, when you're using the phone, the screen is the main interaction point. So with those devices that might be 4.7 inch, like the iPhone 8, for example, you've got those big bezels top and bottom, but you don't have to reach up there and down there because the screen is in the middle. So the only place you're interacting there is the screen. And with the XR, for example, you have to reach right at the top corner and right at the bottom corner as well. So it's really like less about the bezels because the bezels don't matter really. In retrospect, it's all down to how you interact with the device. And I'm not a fan of that smaller phone. I think they're pretty cool and I know a lot of people who use them, but I personally use the larger phone. So I've got an iPhone 10 and I've used S7 Edges, S8 Pluses, bigger phones in general, and I would like to check out the Pixel 2 XL and phones like that, which definitely do come into Apple's ecosystem now. You've got the 5.8, the 6.1 and the 6.5, so really big phones. But I know a lot of people who have held on to their SE because it was that smaller phone, because maybe they don't care, maybe they've got small enough hands or big enough hands. They don't care about necessarily the aesthetic or the feel in the hand. They just like the fact that those smaller phones, once you put a case on them, are nice and chunky and thick and nice and rugged. You can just throw them in a bag or even just leave them on the floor whilst you're doing something like painting or working on something. And it's a real difference. Like when you go to use an iPhone 10, like I had an iPhone 10, I've used a 5S before this. And when I'm in the gym, I used to be able to just, since my iPhone 5S was just so small, I could put it in my pocket or put it down on the floor. But with this, you really have to place it. Otherwise, it's just going to seem like you're going to drop a phone that's got a £500 replacement back. And the whole thing with the iPhone SE is it was metal on the back. It had a couple of glass windows, but the overall industrial design of the SE and the 5S, I suppose, subsequently, is absolutely stunning in my opinion, and probably the best designed Apple mobile division have ever created. It's a real shame for those people who like the small iPhones who are going to have to go over to Samsung or any other Android OEM because there's no small iPhone and there's literally nothing there. At least before, you had the 5.5, which was kind of large, it was kind of average to large size. You had the 4.7, which was fairly compact for a lot of people, including myself. I'd call that a very compact phone. And then you had the 4, which is definitely compact. Everyone can handle that. It's a perfect phone and it's a lot cheaper as well. And I think this push towards larger phones is really cool because, we can really see how better displays can be implemented into phones. So we've got OLED now on Apple, which is fantastic. We've been asking for that for a long time. And the IPS display on the XR is a little bit tacky, if I'm honest. I don't think it's a very good display, but I haven't used it in person, so I wouldn't know. And I just think that whilst this is really cool that we can see how much we can put into a phone, Apple is kind of turning away from their core audience, the people who didn't want a large phone and called every phone above 5 inches at one point an absolute monster and too big, and we should never use a phone that big. And this was only maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and now everyone's using 6-inch, 6.5-inch iPhones. How crazy is that? I know, right? Get with the times. I don't know, I just wanted to talk about this because it's really important to me. And that's been about it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please do like, dislike, and I'm sure I'll get plenty of those. Comment and subscribe if you're new here to never miss a video like this one. I've been Ryan Thomas with Failtech. I would actually love to hear your hate or any kind of constructive comment in the comment section, because it would actually be interesting to hear your thoughts on this. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.